Naughty Dog's The Last of Us 2 has been critically acclaimed since its release in June of last year, and I consider it to be one of the touchstones for storytelling in video games. The Last of Us 2 is inherently a honed single-player experience, with its focus on contemplative narrative and story beats. However, a recent post on Naughty Dog's Twitter seems to indicate that a multiplayer mode is on its way for the game. Though Naughty Dog are a company that is known primarily for its single-player stories, The Last of Us had multiplayer in the form of factions, and other titles in the Uncharted series had multiplayer modes as well. For many players, these multiplayer experiences were less notable than the single-player, but factions certainly had a pocket of dedicated players, and silence from Naughty Dog about The Last of Us 2 variant of this mode was palpable among us. The tweet from Naughty Dog indicates a number of job openings for positions at the company tackling multiplayer design. Considering the job listings, which range from UI and level designers to QA testers, it would appear as though some major work is being done on the multiplayer side of things. It makes sense that Naughty Dog would need a large team to carry over the level of detail seen in The Last of Us 2's campaign. Naughty Dog's website lists a total of 56 openings, with around 11 of them being specifically for multiplayer design. There is no specific indication in the job openings that the multiplayer being worked on for The Last of Us 2 is a new factions game mode, with certain factors indicating something different could be in the works. An AI programming position specifically for multiplayer has many suggesting that a game mode in the vein of Battle State Games' Escape from Tarkov could be in the works, whereby players have to tangle with AI and human opponents to scavenge maps for loot. Many have also put forward the idea of a Battle Royale mode for The Last of Us 2, which could be befitting given its post-apocalyptic setting, high stakes, and methodical gameplay. While much of this is speculative, and the return of factions as The Last of Us 2's multiplayer is a strong possibility, the world Naughty Dog created certainly opens the door to many unique options for multiplayer. With many Battle Royale titles favoring fast, frenetic gameplay, a return to the slow and strategic nature of games like PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds could be what the genre needs, and who better to craft it than Naughty Dog, whose attention to detail is second to none. It is stated as a standalone multiplayer game, which gives cinematic experience between the players. Their past multiplayer projects were good, but it did not reach the levels of Call of Duty in terms of popularity. Now, it's good to see that they are dedicated to make a standalone multiplayer experience, which will be worth the wait. Neil Druckmann has done an interview with Game Informer, in which he elaborated on single-player games Naughty Dog could bring back such as Jak and Daxter and Uncharted. He also told that they have several teams working on different projects, in which their new sci-fi IP codenamed Stray's Cross is one of them. Naughty Dog nails narrative every time, and I think this time it's time for them to dominate in the multiplayer space. Factions was delayed, which created some sadness in fans, but seeing the level of passion they have for the multiplayer, it will be worth the wait. If you want to know more about the multiplayer project, you can check out my previous video, where I have discussed about some of the leaked elements of factions, and for more updates stay tuned. Moving forward, we have an update on another PlayStation game, particularly on the sequel. The internet has been speculating wildly about what's next for Kojima Productions following the completion of Death Stranding. There are conspiracies that Kojima is involved with Abandoned, and even rumors that Kojima is working in the Silent Hill franchise again. However, all along the answer may have been that Kojima Productions has decided to keep focusing on Death Stranding with a sequel. If actor Norman Reedus is to be believed, that's exactly what Kojima is planning. Speaking during a roundtable press junket for the 11th season of The Walking Dead, Reedus acknowledged Death Stranding 2's development seemingly without being prompted. "I think we're doing a second Death Stranding," said Reedus, who then said that he believed that his team was currently in negotiations to reprise his role as Death Stranding protagonist Sam Porter. Given Reedus is saying he's not officially signed on to the project yet, Death Stranding 2 is, if it even exists, a long way off from being officially announced. Reedus is known to be a little leaky when it comes to his work with Hideo Kojima. Reedus was also planned to be the protagonist of Kojima's cancelled Silent Hills project, and when that project went up in smoke, confirmed future plans to work with Kojima on other projects. Death Stranding followed. Then, in 2020, following the release of Death Stranding, Reedus confirmed again that he was going to work with Kojima on other stuff. Now, Reedus is saying he'll be working on Death Stranding 2. To be clear, Reedus' comments are the first inkling that Kojima Productions will be working on a sequel to Death Stranding. As such, they're not necessarily an official confirmation. It's unlikely Reedus would be confused on the matter, however, given his friendship with Kojima and their past work together. If there's any evidence that Kojima Productions is going to move forward with a Death Stranding sequel, it's likely to be found in the upcoming Death Stranding Director's Cut release. The Director's Cut will introduce a variety of interesting new content, as well as new story missions that focus more heavily on combat. This past week's Gamescom trailer for the Death Stranding Director's Cut practically screamed that there was more to come, but until it launches on September 24th, it's a subject of speculation and nothing more. The news that Kojima Productions is perhaps going to be working on a Death Stranding sequel is sure to be seen as great. Given the imagination on display in the game, however, it seems likely that Kojima would be able to come up with something fans will be excited to experience in a Death Stranding sequel. He could also be working on simultaneous projects, or it could be abandoned, where the Kojima and Reedus are rapidly posting the bunny pictures from Silent Hill. It will be interesting to see what Kojima is up to next, and I definitely want a Death Stranding sequel. Horizon Zero Dawn is a third-person action RPG that was released on the PlayStation 4 system in 2017 before being ported to PC in 2020. Created by Guerrilla Games, a Dutch first-party Sony studio, Horizon Zero Dawn is set in a post-apocalyptic world where robot dinosaurs rule the Earth. Horizon Zero Dawn was a successful new IP for Sony and Guerrilla Games, selling over 15 million copies and earning itself an 89 Metacritic score on the PS4 system. Critics and players praised the game for its unique setting, gorgeous graphics, and diverse combat system. In June 2020, Guerrilla announced a sequel titled Horizon Forbidden West, which is set to release in February 2022 on PS4 and PS5. In an effort to garner up more interest in the franchise, Guerrilla recently released a 60 frames per second update to Horizon Zero Dawn for players who find themselves lucky enough to own a PlayStation 5. Alongside this update came a change to the game's logo. The new Horizon Zero Dawn logo features two small changes. A line break has been added alongside the Roman numeral for 1, indicating that this is the first title in the series. The new logo is now more similar to the one used for its sequel, Horizon Forbidden West. This makes the branding for the franchise more consistent, and makes it clear for players which entry comes first in the series. Speaking of Horizon Forbidden West, Guerrilla Games have released a unique set of art of instructions for Aloy cosplayers, which includes breathtaking character models of Aloy from Forbidden West. The models are very detailed, and if any of you are interested, I have given the link to the PDF in description. You can check it out there. Horizon Forbidden West was originally supposed to launch in the fall of 2021, but now its release date is being confirmed as February 18, 2021. Of course, February 2022 isn't too far away, and it is always better to get a polished game rather than an unfinished one. Sony's first-party studios are generally highly regarded for creating highly polished titles, and Guerrilla showing care to something as simple as an old logo goes to show their dedication to the Horizon franchise. The PlayStation platform is set to have an excellent 2022, with massive titles like God of War Ragnarok, Gran Turismo 7, and the aforementioned Horizon Forbidden West poised to release next year. Rockstar Games' monumental Grand Theft Auto V was first released to massive critical acclaim in 2013. While it initially launched on the PS3 and Xbox 360, Rockstar followed up the original release with an enhanced version for PC, PS4, and Xbox One. Grand Theft Auto V is still selling incredibly well to this day, and as such, Rockstar has decided to re-release the title once again on the PS5 and Xbox Series X and S. Rockstar has been pretty tight-lipped about the upcoming next-gen version, but it has stated that Grand Theft Auto V Enhanced Edition will have performance enhancements, visual upgrades, and technical improvements. Zero footage of the game running on next-generation consoles has been shown up until this point, but PlayStation just dropped a new trailer on August 27 that may have finally given us our first look at the title running on a PlayStation 5. The trailer in question, titled Breathtaking Games, has been posted by PlayStation to its respective YouTube and Twitter accounts. The video shows a compilation of cutscenes, gameplay, and CGI from various PS5 titles such as Returnal, Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart, Horizon Forbidden West, Ghost of Tsushima Director's Cut, Gran Turismo 7, and more. Within the trailer, there are what seems to be two very short clips from the new version of Grand Theft Auto 5. One shows a character who looks like Trevor jumping out of a 4x4 vehicle with a parachute, and a second shows Michael speeding down a runway in a white car, while a police car explodes next to him. The fine print in the trailer does mention Grand Theft Auto 5 and states that all footage shown from titles that are not Deathloop, Forspoken, or FIFA 22 are captured on a PS5 console. This indicates that this footage could indeed be the next-gen version of Grand Theft Auto 5 that we are seeing, as brief as it is. Rockstar certainly has its reasons for releasing yet another version of Grand Theft Auto 5. The title won several awards and is tied for the highest-rated title on Metacritic on both the PS4 and Xbox One systems. On top of those impressive accolades, Grand Theft Auto 5 is now the most profitable entertainment product of all time, generating about $6 billion from its 150 million copies sold. As great as Grand Theft Auto 5 is, fans are highly anticipating the next title in the series, Grand Theft Auto 6. However, that title has yet to be given a release date of any sort. Being that so little is currently known about Rockstar's next crime opus, it is likely that Grand Theft Auto 6 is still a long way from being released. As such, fans will have to keep playing Grand Theft Auto 5 and its continuously updated multiplayer component, Grand Theft Auto Online, for now. Speaking of new GTA games, a voice actor claims that they were hired by Rockstar for a new Grand Theft Auto game, but aren't sure what game that they're working on. The leak comes from voice actor Dave Jackson, who says that they were hired by Rockstar to play the character Captain McClane in an upcoming Grand Theft Auto game. They've since taken down their Facebook post making the announcement. Based on what Jackson says, the McClane character is set to appear in a new Grand Theft Auto series. However, they later clarify that they don't know exactly where their character will appear in Grand Theft Auto. They don't know if it'll be Grand Theft Auto 6 or a future Grand Theft Auto Online update. More specifically, they haven't been told whether it's for GTA 6 or GTA 0. What they do know is that Rockstar is currently working on a trailer, and that Jackson is involved. Jackson's experience is said to range from audiobook voiceover to video games, though he doesn't have a reference to any major projects the scale of Grand Theft Auto. It begs the question as to whether Jackson may have been confused about the project or could have misinformed people. There's no evidence pointing either way, of course. Rockstar historically employs NDAs to keep voice actors from talking about ongoing projects, but that historically hasn't stopped people from talking. Speaking about NDAs, Jackson was asked if he was violating his by talking about the Grand Theft Auto project. Jackson says that the producers he worked with said I could spread the world, and to expect the trailer he worked on soon. If Jackson is being truthful and isn't confused about the situation, his Captain McClane character seems much more likely to be a part of Grand Theft Auto Online rather than Grand Theft Auto 6. There have been rumors regarding a Cops and Crooks update for GTA Online for months, if not a year. It's more than possible Rockstar has a trailer coming for it, if it exists. As for the possibility of Jackson potentially leaking a Grand Theft Auto 6 character, that's much less likely given his trailer news. Grand Theft Auto 6 hasn't been officially announced yet, and it's audacious to think Rockstar would be comfortable with news regarding an announcement trailer being leaked early. That's if the leak is reliable in the first place. Up next, it would appear that a new model of PS5 has begun shipping to select locations, and it brings with it several changes from the original designs that launched in November of 2020. So, as players continue to jump on every PS5 restock, those who aren't able to pick up a new system until later in the year might be rewarded with several quality-of-life updates to the newest version of the console. These new models are already appearing in several stores across the world. Included in this new model is a brand new heatsink, and a screw used to install the stand onto the bottom of the PS5 console for players that prefer to have their system standing vertically, much like in the majority of Sony's promotional material for the device. The new screw has a plastic cover on the end, with grooves that allow players to better install the stand with their fingers, rather than having to use a screwdriver or a coin the way the current model does. It's a small quality of life change that could make a big difference when the system finally arrives to an eager fan, or for any players that might frequently travel and thus need to remove and reinstall the stand repeatedly. The other significant changes were the Bluetooth and Wi-Fi settings and some small updates. The second change identified here is the heatsink. Although the new heatsink is smaller than the older one, it seems like the new one have some structural changes to it. It has less copper in it, but the third change here makes the system more efficient, as the fan is upgraded, and it exiles more hot air into the atmosphere, in which the inner side will be much cooler. The temperatures were not officially tested, but the new revised model will have more efficient cooling system, and we shall not worry about the temperature of the console. It isn't entirely clear what else has changed under the hood of these new PS5 consoles, as Sony hasn't come out to address the new models in any significant way. All that fans who have checked can say for certain is that the new version is slightly lighter, losing about 10 ounces or roughly 300 grams, and there is a new model number associated. The model number of the original console used a CFI 1XXX numbering scheme, while these new versions appear to use a CFI 11XX scheme instead. Seeing new models this early into the lifetime of a console is nothing new, especially with a weight difference of less than a pound. Alongside the launch of the PlayStation 5 came a new digital storefront for all PS5 owners that, while differing in aesthetic, was essentially the same as the PS4 digital store. It seems as if Sony is planning on updating the storefront once more to change things in a big way. According to a recent United States patent application by Sony Interactive Entertainment, the company is working on a new update for the PlayStation Store that would provide even more information on the game that a customer is potentially looking to buy. One of the most important takeaways from the patent application is that the updated store would help give in-depth information on the life cycle of a game relative to the point of purchase. Essentially, the patent would help give the buyer a better sense of how well the game in question is being supported. For example, live service games like Fortnite or Apex Legends would include detailed information about recent patches and major updates confirming that they are still games worth downloading with live servers. Conversely, games that have been taken offline such as Friday the 13th, the game would make it clear upfront that matchmaking servers aren't supported anymore. This sort of information already exists for certain games on their store pages, however. It seems like Sony's patent application is looking to make it a more standardized practice so that customers know exactly what they're buying when they're buying it. This will hopefully help consumers make more educated purchases, resulting in less returns and the success of better, more well-supported games. A lot of the sample images that Sony provided in its patent application seem to look relatively similar to the current PS5 store layout, so it seems like the added information won't be changing up too much in terms of store functionality and overall look. The 41-page document provides plenty of different examples and layouts for how the finalized version might look. It's worth pointing out that while a patent application suggests that something new is in the works, it doesn't necessarily mean that whatever it is will be coming anytime soon, if ever. There have been a handful of Sony patent applications discovered over the past few years that haven't resurfaced in any meaningful way in the company's products, but it's an interesting look into the potential future of what Sony has planned. And that's all for the video, guys. Like and share the video for a greater audience. Comment your thoughts on the topics, and donations are always appreciated. Subscribe to the channel and click the bell icon, and until then, from SMPV, it's goodbye.
PlayStation